Hi everyone, welcome to the session Embedded Systems, and today we deal with Introduction to Embedded Systems. So before getting into that, we can come across what are the objectives of this session. So we are going to see what are the basic building blocks involved in an embedded system and what are the various stages of embedded system and how the interfacing devices are introduced, and finally we'll end with the real-time applications. So this is the basic syllabus which is illustrated here, and what are the side headings or the topics which we are going to discuss over here, and generally what is mean by a system before getting into an embedded system. So generally what is mean by a system? So system is a way of doing work or an organizing a task. So this cannot be common over the entire universe because a system can be manufactured or based on the products, so and also based on the applications. So whenever a system is designed, it cannot be unique. So it depends or differs according to the process. And these are all some simple examples of how a system is manipulated or it is differentiated. A watch. So for functioning of a watch, we need more number of typical tasks which is involved in different functions. And the next application is a washing machine. So here a washing machine is a one which is used for a specific application. So in this we'll have a more number of variants. One is of fully automated, semi-automated, and based on the functions, front load washing machines and top load washing machines. But the function of the washing machine remains the same, and this is where how an embedded system is getting into a history. So embedded system is a one which will have a computer hardware and a software embedded into a component. So here we'll have a hardware component and software coding. So we need a manipulation to join this hardware and software together depending on the work of application. So here we'll have a certain number of components based on microprocessors. So a larger memory, input units, output units, networking units, and input output units. So what are the functions of hardware, software, and real-time applications? So this is the diagram which is illustrate how the components are arranged in an embedded system. So first we'll have a power supply and then a processor, a timer, a interrupt controller, program memory, communication port, parallel port. At the top we'll have a input devices and below we'll have output devices, and finally we'll have a system specific applications. And here are certain examples. So how an embedded systems can be designed or how an embedded components can be chosen. So based on the available memory, available process speed, and the power dissipation, the component can have a multiple segments. So the program is preloaded, the system function is a real task, dedication set function, and which is used for complex algorithms. So for selecting an algorithm or selecting an embedded, we are consideration on certain factors. It is shown here: real time, size, cost, time, reliability, safety, energy, and security. Majorly, embedded system is divided into three. One is small, medium, and sophisticated. So this is where how your microcontroller and microprocessor come into the process of embedded system. And mostly we'll have a microprocessor as well as a microcontroller based on the application we are getting into it. And here we'll have a two units. So we here we'll mention processor. Embedded is a heart, and we need the processor for an embedded system. So embedded system here is used for two process. One is used for control and the other one is used for execution. For following control and execution, we need other two operation. One is we have to fetch and the other one is we have to execute. So based on the applications, we are classifying the embedded system, general purpose processor, application specific processor, and multi-processor system using this general processors. So here this what is mean by a microprocessor and what does the microprocessor contains and how this microprocessor is accepted in RAM and ROM, that is memory units. So memory units plays a major role. Depending on the memory units, we'll have a classification. For example, 2 GB RAM in the cell memory phones and 3 GB RAM in the phones and 4 GB RAM in the phones. So whenever we are going on the increasing stage, we have a better processing speed. So just for a classification, a difference between a microprocessor is microcontroller. The difference is illustrated here. So this difference is for clarification. It means what is definitely mean for a microprocessor and what is definitely mean for microcontroller. And these are some points or the objectives for selecting the devices. And here a software, a simulator and compiler is needed for a software. So this is the structural units of a processor, how an embedded software is designed. So these are some real-time applications where we are using embedded systems. An embedded system is designed or it is split into two categories. It is software development and hardware development. So here the hardware development requires some criteria. So how many number of input output ports, serial communication ports, peripheral devices, memory requirements, process speeds and power requirement. So these are all comes under hardware development. And the software we need an assembly coding, compiler and debugging. So it is coming in the upcoming slides. So here a software development, high level language, low level language, compiler and assembler. It is again coming into a machine code, device programmer and a program memory. So this is how a software is developed. So it is an overall concept, not on the specific, it is an overall concept. So next topic is target hardware debugging. So you all know debugging, the concept of debugging. So whenever we are getting into a software, we need automatically a debugging tool. But here we are combining the process of hardware and software together to perform a function. So that we need a debugging tool which is suited for both hardware and software together, right? And next one is in-circuit eliminator. So in-circuit eliminator is also a debugger tool which works on the background of the module. So it is used for hardware device, and before will target debugging is used for software device. So what this in-circuit eliminator can is used for. So this in-circuit eliminator provides a way to run the system with live data while still allowing relatively good debugging capabilities. And next one is timer and counter. So before getting into this timer and counter, so you should have a basic clarification that timer is different from counter. So timer is a specialized type of clock which is used to measure time intervals, and counter is a device that stores the number of times a particular event or a process with respect to clock signals. So again, for clarification, here we are differentiating the timer and counter. And next one is memory management. So how a memory is managed in an embedded system. So here it is basically depends on RAM and ROM, cache memory and virtual memory. And here are some topics how it is managed. So or mapped, tracking, ensuring, etc. So next one is direct memory access. So direct memory access is the one which is reducing the time for execution. So it is directly accessed. So the data are not stored anywhere else and it can be directly accessed. So in DMA, both CPU and direct memory controller have access to the main memory. So here the memories are shared and it is accessed directly. So there are three types of data transfer. One is programmed input output, interrupt driven input output, and the third one is R, it is direct memory access. So for direct memory access, the CPU calls the DMA for operation. It will allow the device to access the memory directly. So it is illustrated in the diagram here. So why the DMA is needed? So to reduce the timing controller, the subcontroller can access the memory in the sequential order without intervention from the processor, because every time if we are using the processor, it may go and fetch, go and fetch, go and fetch, go and fetch. For example, it takes some time to open an application. So if you are opening it again and again, for example, if you are opening a Chrome in a desktop, it requires some time to open because the system need to respond. So if you are not allowing that time, so if you are frequently opening that Chrome again and again, again and again, so it is frequently fetching the device to execute its operation. So what are the basic functions of DMA? So it is mainly for performing speedy action. So how a data transfer is intimated using DMA, and a DMA diagram is illustrated here. So until how it is hold. And finally, we'll have a watchdog timer. So this watchdog timer is also a device. It is a piece of a hardware that can be used to automatically detect software anomalies and reset the processor if any occurs. So every electronic devices, so nowadays every electronic devices will have a watchdog timer, so that it is illustrated in this diagram. So how a watchdog timer is processed. So this is how an embedded system is working and the basic concepts of embedded system. So with this, we'll end this session. Have a nice day. Thank you.